Once you've mastered camera settings, what's next for your wildlife photography? How do you take it to the next level? Well, you start focusing on creating beautiful images instead of just documenting animals that you come across. You can work on compositions, framing, and usage of creative angles. But this one key skill will drastically improve your wildlife photography. And this skill that I'm referring to is the art of seeing your background. Now, what this skill entails is being able to see how the photo, including the background, will look like before you even press the shutter button. So let me take you a few steps back. In the world of photography, of taking photographs, you want the audience or the viewer to stay on the image for as long as possible. The object of interest, the subject, should be the focal point of the image, and everything else within the frame either serves to support that particular subject or else it will be a distraction. So let's talk about the different layers in an image. In the picture, you have three layers: the foreground, the subject, as well as the background. Now we're going to ignore the foreground for now, but the background can just be as important as the subject itself. And anything distracting in the background can potentially serve to distract the viewer from the subject. And hence, we want the background to be as clean and as aesthetically pleasing as possible. So, how do we achieve this background? Well, as everybody knows, aperture plays a huge part in this. The wider your aperture, the more out of focus or the more blurry your background is going to be. But there are other factors to consider as well. For instance, the further your background is from the subject, the more out of focus that background will be. The closer your subject is to the lens, the more out of focus your background will be as well. And the longer your focal length, the more compressed your background will be. By moving yourself or changing the focal length, you can change the way the background looks and hence get rid of as many distracting elements in the background as possible. Now that we've got that out of the way, the aim of this skill is to be able to visualize your background and how it will look like in your photograph before you even turn on the camera. Ultimately, you'll know exactly where to place your camera to get the desired image and background that you want. So, how do you develop this skill? This is a skill that only can be developed over time, through practice. And to practice, here are some tips I have for you. The first tip is when you take a photograph, you don't want to just focus all your attention on the subject. You want to be able to see everything else that is in frame as well. When you pay attention to everything else, including the background, then you become a lot more deliberate in knowing what you want and you don't want in your photographs. The second tip is to always explore changing focal lengths or moving yourself to see how the background is affected. If you always just stick to one spot or location, you will never fully explore and understand what all the other photo possibilities are. From there, you'll learn how backgrounds change depending on your position and camera settings. The third tip is, before you take a photo, imagine and visualize what the background in that photograph might look like before you even place your eye to the viewfinder. Take into consideration all the various factors involved, such as your focal length, the distance of the background from your subject, the colors of the background, all from where you are standing. Then, take the photograph and see if it matches up to what you visualized in the first place. Once you get good at this, now visualize and imagine how the background might look from multiple locations and angles from around you. You will get very good at this over time and be able to tell straight away whether a particular location is good or not just from seeing it with your eyes. Once you train this skill, you can quickly decide where is the best position to place yourself and the equipment that you're going to use, getting better images consistently. If you found this video helpful, remember to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to support this channel to help me help you make similar videos about wildlife photography tips and share my wildlife photography experiences.